We interrupt your normal broadcasting to take you live out of Tarleton, Jefferson County, where a tanker has exploded. A dead man's body has been found right next to this discarded Christmas tree behind me. You can also see on the ground a frozen body imprint. This cash store was just robbed moments ago at gunpoint. They arrested 2 men. They collected over 50 guns, the necessary force that women practice with to get out of an attack. This is all that is left after a huge tanker explosion. You see that scrap metal on the left there? It's supposed to look like that tanker on the right, but after 35,000 gallons of fuel have incinerated the place, there isn't much left.
Whoa! Oh my God! Well, you can feel the heat.
Chaos best describes what happened last night. A tanker that was in the process of unloading its fuel ignited at Ike's Tesoro near Mud Lake. No one was hurt, but the driver was just behind the trailer when the first explosion happened.
Something went wrong while he was unloading, and some vapors from the tanker got into the engine of the truck. He just said everything blew up and he got away.
The driver didn't have much to say. How do you feel?
I'm about half scared. Well, like the boss said, we're not supposed to comment on nothing.
The first explosion caught many off guard.
We were sitting in the diner getting ready to eat, and somebody came in and said one of the tankers had blown up.
I was stunned because I was just about to stop there and eat, and I'm so glad I didn't. Everything was on fire. I don't think it was getting to the gas station quite yet, but it was getting pretty close to it.
But the explosions that followed lit up the sky.
Talked to people that seen it clear over into Manan.
Flames reached 100 feet high. At 5:30 p.m. Thursday night, every emergency response unit in the area, many volunteer firefighters were called to the scene.
It's pretty amazing that no one got hurt, but I think it's the time of night that it helped that things were quieted down a little too. There wasn't a lot of people out there. And these tanks are in the back of the store where most of the population that goes inside the store is up front by the highway.
It took fire crews nearly 2 hours to extinguish the flames, which kept reigniting. It began Tuesday at 5:30 a.m. The Austin Millers were asleep in their bed when they heard a sound.
All I heard is, wow!
Jackie woke up and saw her cat Renesmee panicking. Jackie thinks a male cat had wandered by and her cat was protecting her kittens. So she went to grab her cat to prevent her from bolting out a hole in the screen door. That's when her cat jumped at her.
I was being mauled, literally for the kill. She had got a hold of either my nose first, my face first, my arms first. I was literally screaming, Blaine, get her off, she's attacking me, get her off. And he jumped up out of the middle of sleep. He took his CPAP machine, just jerked it off, threw it on the floor, and he was able to literally pry her off of me.
Confusion. I woke up hearing my wife scream, and I didn't know what was going on until I looked over there, and I seen her viciously attacking.
Blaine did get the cat off, but not before 35 bite marks and 15 bruises later. Then, when Jackie was washing the blood off her face, the cat came back.
Washed the blood off of her face and off part of her hands. Then she actually attacked her leg a second time.
The Austin Millers both saw an unusual stare right before that second attack.
She came at me with the deadliest eyes.
I noticed that she was looking at my wife with a weird look.
But even after this whole ordeal, the Ostermiller family hasn't turned their back on cats. They even plan on getting a new kitten soon. But they do have a word of caution.
I want people to know how dangerous cats can be. They can turn on you in a dime. Believe it or not, cats.
Jackie feels that none of this would have happened either if they had just spayed their cat. Stephen Pope, Channel 3 Eyewitness News. A husband murders his wife's boyfriend at this Walmart parking lot after learning of an affair. Keith Mathias was a math teacher at Idaho Falls High School.
Dispatch received a call from Jennifer Mathias stating that her husband had just killed someone in the parking lot.
Around 7 p.m., Jennifer was having dinner with her husband. She told him about an ongoing affair with Jack Purcell. But after she left the restaurant, her husband followed her. She called her boyfriend for help and parked at Walmart. Within minutes, her boyfriend arrived and had a heated argument with her husband. But then, her husband got out of his car and shot her boyfriend multiple times in the head with a revolving handgun. The husband then got back in his car, circled the truck, got back out, and fired one last bullet into Jack's skull. Matthias then drove away but was followed by eyewitnesses who gave police his location.
He refused to stop. Officers performed the pit maneuver.
Once stopped by Hawthorne Elementary, Matthias didn't take long to make his final decision.
Car stops. Keith gets out of the vehicle with the handgun down to his side. One officer fires a taser, which has no effect. Keith is pacing around, puts the gun to his head, and fires. And that's all within about a 20-second or less.
Why did officers choose to use a taser gun?
Basically, there's no threat toward the officers until he points the gun. If he had moved the weapon toward the officers, then they most likely would have fired at that point.
Did Jennifer do the right thing in parking at the Walmart?
You know, we do tell people and victims if they're afraid or they fear that someone is following them, or, you know, in a case like this, I think she did. Probably the only other thing she could do is maybe contact or come to the police department.
Matthias does not have a previous criminal record in Idaho. This is the second murder in Idaho Falls this year. The first was a stabbing back in June. For Channel 3 Eyewitness News, I'm Stephen Pope.
We have a follow-up now for a story that you saw only on 3. A Rexburg home is condemned because of a rodent infestation. We continue to dig deeper into this story, and we've discovered some new details. Joining us now is Eyewitness News reporter Stephen Pope. And Stephen, do we know why there were just so many rodents in this house?
Well, Todd, I've been checking the house daily to see what's being done about the infestation. Terminix was there today resetting traps. They say the home has multiple square-shaped holes in the sheetrock, which led to rodents crawling into the home. Court files on Ginger and Glenn Crawford have now been released, and misdemeanor injury to child charges stem from 7 children living in the home under, quote, exposure of child to filthy mice and or mouse waste in the child's home environment. A fire marshal let an exterminator into the house Thursday morning. Matt Myers with Terminix, who's been inside the home, says it's bad construction which led to the mouse infestation. You'll notice he has a gas mask on and some heavy-duty gloves. He declined to comment on camera but says there are multiple holes in the sheetrock which allowed the rodents into the home. I also checked with the local title company and found the home was built in 1981 by Dean Palmer and Dean Riggs. However, in 2006, Rodney Drive had sewer backup problems stemming from Madison High School dumping snow into the canal. Water backed up into the lift station, overwhelming sewer lines in many homes on the west side of Rodney Drive. I inquired with City Hall if that sewer backup led to this rodent infestation.
You know, we don't know. We do know that there was obviously some lift station issues caused by really an overloading of a canal back behind. To our knowledge, those things were taken care of.
Shortly thereafter, restoration work was performed on the Crawford home. There are no public records on who did that work, and it is not clear whether the holes in the sheetrock were there when the home was built or if they were cut when the restoration work was done in 2006. Blame aside, why isn't the public being made aware of this rodent infestation?
I've heard there's thousands of mice in there.
The fire department, police, and prosecutor continue to decline to comment about the condemned home. At least 3 Terminix employees have spent 3 days working in the home utilizing all sorts of traps, including metal life traps and snap traps. Grain bags were brought in to keep the mice inside, and the work isn't done yet. Mayor Richard Woodland declined to comment on camera, but in a conversation at City Hall, I asked him, why didn't you or any city leader inform the public about the rodent-infested home? Woodland answered, because we didn't want to. I followed up, doesn't the neighborhood have a right to know what's going on and if there's a public health risk? Woodland answered, the neighborhood knows what's going on. But neighbors disagree.
Well, we just know that there's an infestation of mice here in this house. I live 3 doors down, and we have been told nothing by the city. We've not been told to take any precautions. We've been told nothing.
We didn't know why the tape was there until because nobody had told us why.
I've also reached out to both Glenn and Ginger Crawford at their employers. Glenn works at Walmart and Ginger works as a nurse at the Labor and Delivery Department at Madison Memorial Hospital. Both employers said they had taken vacation time, so I left messages. I will continue to reach out to them for comment, however. I also tried to obtain pictures of the mice inside the home, but prosecutors, police, and the fire department declined to release those.